pinned to the bed, seemingly awake but paralyzed from movement. Sounds of breathing, whispering or static. A figure or creature is in the room, watching or even gripping tightly. An attempt to shout or move fails. A state between being awake and asleep. Sleep paralysis is a phenomenon that has startled and frightened people for centuries. The experience can vary between each person, and its impact can be seen throughout art, literature, and media across time. These aren't simply nightmares. It occurs between being awake and asleep, and is physiologically different from a nightmare. It's also theorized that sleep paralysis could be a main contributing factor to beliefs such as alien abductions or religious experiences. The phenomenon of sleep paralysis can be dated back as far as Greek times. They believed it to be a stomach issue, and in early religious theology, it was believed to be an evil entity. The International Journal of Applied and Basic Medical Research describes the experience as, people who experienced sleep paralysis claimed they felt paralyzed, could not speak, felt helpless, and were overwhelmed by extreme fear and terror. One of the most popular paintings believed to represent sleep paralysis is The Nightmare by Henry Fuseli, a Swiss painter active between the 17 and 1800s. Fuseli typically painted the supernatural. The Nightmare shows a woman in a deep sleep, with a small, grumpy, gremlin-like creature on top of her chest. The painting has become a popular representation of sleep paralysis, as it features a number of recurring factors of the experience. These include a pressure holding the person down, particularly on their chest, difficulty breathing, the feeling that they are being watched either by the creature or the voyeur horse, fear. The creepy demonic presence could represent the feeling of fear the victim experiences. The popularity of this painting would lead Fuseli to create a number of versions, all including the gremlin-like creature and horse. The web blog Te Wiki Whidbey analyses the writing of Edgar Allan Poe and believes there are descriptions of sleep paralysis in the Gothic author's work. They quote his story, The Pit and the Pendulum, in which the character wakes in darkness, then the mere consciousness of existence without thought, then, very suddenly, thought and shuddering terror, then a rushing revival of soul and a successful effort to move. The blogger also references Poe's The Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket. The paws of some huge and real monster were pressing heavily upon my bosom. His hot breath was in my ear, and his white and ghastly fangs were gleaming upon me through the gloom. Had 1,000 lives hung upon the movement of a limb, or the utterance of a syllable, I could neither have stirred nor spoken. With suggestions that Poe suffered from depression, bipolar disorder, and alcoholism, it would make sense that Edgar Allan Poe could have experienced sleep paralysis. The main theory behind sleep paralysis is that it is a dysfunction when entering REM sleep. Rapid eye movement sleep is a stage of sleeping in which the muscles are near paralyzed, to avoid the sleeper acting out their dreams and causing injury. It is also believed that REM sleep is connected to dreaming. It seems likely that sleep paralysis would occur between wakefulness and REM sleep, causing the brain to be partly conscious of the body paralysis and dreamlike hallucinations. Some attributing factors could be stress, poor sleep habits, alcohol consumption, and sleep apnea. However, it can also be found in relation to PTSD, panic attacks, and narcolepsy. The journal goes on to say, the intruder, sense of a stranger in the room accompanied by fear, the increased awareness for sense of threat or danger, is due to the brainstem activation of the amygdala, an emotive part of the brain. There are many cultural interpretations of sleep paralysis. For example, people of China have been known to hire spiritualists in response to sleep paralysis. A common belief is that sleep paralysis is caused by ghosts, with people resorting to prayer. In Islamic regions, it is reported that sleep paralysis is caused by a jinn demon, while in Japan, sleep paralysis is called kanashibari, roughly translated as bound to metal. A Harvard study built ties between alien abductions to sleep paralysis. In the study, they found that abduction stories held consistent similarities: paralysis, flashing lights, strange sounds, and the presence of aliens and even a physical touch. With the comparative symptoms, the researchers were able to conclude that some of these people become completely absorbed by what happened and seek an explanation of it. The study Sleep Paralysis, Sexual Abuse and Space Alien Abduction states that people rely on personally plausible cultural narratives to interpret these otherwise baffling sleep paralysis episodes. Celebrated astrologist Carl Sagan wrote in his book The Demon-Haunted World, a book about scientific method and identifying pseudoscience, that most alien abduction stories could be explained by sleep paralysis. Sagan also notes that sleep paralysis explains historic stories of sexual abuse by demons, creating an interesting parallel between religious demon stories to that of modern alien abduction. There are a number of tips to reduce or even avoid sleep paralysis. These include regular 6 to 8 hours of sleep a day, keeping a consistent sleeping schedule, and avoiding alcohol before bed. A study has also been conducted which found meditative relaxation throughout the day can help reduce regular sleep paralysis by up to 50%. Despite the negative experiences and connotations of sleep paralysis, there have been reports of positive sleep paralysis encounters, including feelings of bliss or coming away with a new approach or outlook on life. An interesting topic, sleep paralysis is yet to be fully understood by medical science. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please like and subscribe.